So with section 2.2, uh, we need to deal with some vocabulary and some notation that we use in mathematics when we talk about um, the way that we're thinking. And in math, we refer to that as logic. So when we talk about section 2.2, we're going to be talking about logic. So this first video is mainly to get vocabulary and notation discussed here. So for example, where we're going to start is with when I say statement. When we're talking about the way we think, if I ever say that we're going to talk about a statement, I'm talking about a sentence that is either true or false. So for example, I have the sentence, Dumbo is an elephant. And I chose this just because this is the first logic statement that I was ever taught. And it's through the movie Dumbo that I was taught all about this way of thinking. So Dumbo is an elephant is a statement. It's true or false. It has to be one or the other. It's not a matter of sometimes this, sometimes that. It's true or it's false. Whether it's true or false is called the truth value for the statement. So for example, Dumbo is an elephant is true. So the truth value for that statement is true. A negation is another statement that has the opposite truth value of my original statement. Typically, we make negations by just including the word not. So if I'm saying Dumbo is an elephant as my original statement, the negation of that, which would have the opposite truth value, is a statement Dumbo is not an elephant. And this has the truth value of false. Statements are the building blocks for how we make other statements. Examples of other statements are what are called compound statements. And then these are where I take two or more statements and join them together, just like when we talk about compound words, compound inequalities, compound sentences. And there are many types of these. The two most common are what are called conjunction and disjunction. In a conjunction, we connect the statements with the word and. And in a disjunction, we connect the statements with the word or. So conjunctions are ors, conjunctions are ands, disjunctions are ors. So for example, a conjunction would be Dumbo is an elephant and Dumbo can fly. The disjunction would be Dumbo is an elephant or Dumbo can fly. In terms of the truth value for compound statements, it depends on the truth values of the individual statements. For a compound statement, the conjunction is only true if both statements are true. And a disjunction is only false if both statements are false. Oh, my tree didn't show up there. Statements are false. So this means if both of my statements being connected by the word and are true, the entire conjunction is true. If one of those is false, or both of those are false, the entire conjunction is false. In a disjunction, if both statements are true, the whole thing is true. If one statement is true, the whole disjunction is true. It's only if both statements are false that my disjunction is false. So it's hard for a conjunction to be true because you need both parts to be true. And it's easy for a disjunction to be true because you only need one of them to be true. In terms of our notations, for statements, we tend to use variables, just like we would for numbers, but these aren't unknown. These are just, we don't want to write a full sentence, so we just write a variable. So lowercase, typically cursive. And for some reason, we tend to start with the letter P and use letters around the letter P. So I could say, instead of Dumbo can fly, I could say that's statement P. Or, Dumbo is an elephant. I could call statement Q. For negation, so if I, for example, like say P is Dumbo is an elephant, well then the negation, to say not something, we use a little squiggly in front of the variable name for the statement. So I would read this as not P, and translate it into a sentence, this would be Dumbo is not an elephant. So a little squiggly in front we read as the word not, so this is not P. For conjunctions, if I have two statements P and Q, the conjunction is an and, I make what looks kind of like a capital A without the crossbar. And that I read as and, so this would be P and Q. For a disjunction, I turn the and symbol upside down, and this would be P or Q. So if I look at some examples with Dumbo, because of course I said this is how I learned it all, my statement P is Dumbo is an elephant. My statement Q is Dumbo can fly. So symbolically, this says not P, which would be Dumbo is not an elephant. This would be not Q, which would mean Dumbo cannot fly. This is P or Q, which means Dumbo is an elephant or Dumbo can fly. P and Q, Dumbo is an elephant and Dumbo can fly. Now remember, if I'm saying this is true and this is true because of the movie, not P would be false because it has to have the opposite value. Not Q would also be false because it has to have the opposite value. P or Q, well, this is a true or true. I only needed one of them to be true to make the whole disjunction true. For P and Q, for a conjunction to be true, both parts do need to be true, which they are, so this is true.